This is part 2 of lesson 12.1. Okay, in the last video we filled in this table, this two-way table about the dogs and the cats, and so we're going to continue now and answer the questions. So it says use the two-way table to answer the following questions. Write each answer as a fraction and as a percent rounded to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. So number 9, what percent of people surveyed have a dog? So we look at all the people that had a dog, and all the people that had a dog are these 52 people out of the 104. And so that's going to be my fractions. For this part, you do not have to actually reduce your fractions. You can just leave it as that non-reduced fraction, but then you're going to change it to a percent. What percent of people surveyed have a cat? So out of the people surveyed, there were 104 people surveyed, and how many had a cat? These are the people that had a cat. It's not 14 plus 27 plus 41. The 41 is the total, and so 41 people out of the 104 had a cat. And so that's going to be 39.4%. Okay, so you get the idea. I want you to pause the video and I want you to go ahead and fill out the rest of this, and then you need to come back and check because there's a couple that could be a little bit tricky here, so you want to make sure you're getting the right thing. So go ahead and pause and then come back and see how you did. Okay, the next one. What percent of people surveyed have both a cat and a dog? So a cat and a dog, that's those 14 people right there, so it's 14 out of 104. And that comes out to be 13.5%. Number 12, what percent of people surveyed have neither one? That was those 25 people that have neither one. And so that comes out to be 24%. Now remember, we're just rounding these to the nearest tenth of a percent. So if there's a decimal, change it to a percent first and then round it. Okay, the next one, what percent of people surveyed do not have a cat? So we look for the people that have no cat, and that's those people. And so 63 total people do not have a cat. So 63 out of 104. And so that comes out to be 60.6%. Okay, what percent of people surveyed have a dog, cat, or both? So everybody except for those 25 people. And so you can say either 104 minus 25 is 79, or you can do the 38 plus the 14 plus the 27. So either of those works. So it's going to be 79 out of 104, which is a majority of the people. And that's going to come out to be 76%. Actually, it comes out to be like 7.7596, and so change it to a percent first, so 75.96, so it's going to be 76% when you round it. Okay, the next one is a little bit different, and this one could be tricky. So it says not what percent of people surveyed, but what percent of people who have a dog. So I'm only looking at the people that have a dog. So out of these people right there, so that's out of a total of 52 people. So out of 52 people, out of the people that have a dog, how many of them do not have a cat? That many do not have a cat, so 38 out of 52. You can look at this as these are my dog people, and 38 of them have no cat. So one way or the other, you need to make sure you're looking at the right population of who you're asking the question about. So this one's going to be 38 out of 52. And so that comes out to be 73%. So 73.1% of the people who have a dog don't have a cat. Okay, and then the next question, what percent of people who have a cat do not have a dog? So people that have a cat, if I look at the people that have a cat, so out of 41 people total, how many of them do not have a dog? That's 27 of them. So 27 out of 41, sorry. And that comes out to be 65.9%. So those are the two that can be a little bit tricky. You have to really watch to see if the population is changing, of who we're asking the questions about. Okay, number 17 is an important question. What conclusions can you make? Don't say things that we've already said, like 24% of people don't have a dog or a cat. We've already said that. 76% of people who have a cat, dog, or both. We already said that. So don't say anything that we've already said. But if you look at this, what are some things that we haven't said? You can say more people like dogs than cats. You can say there's not that many people that don't have a pet. You can say there's not that many people that have both a dog and a cat. So say something about putting them together that we didn't explicitly say already, and put it together in a complete sentence. And so I want you to name at least 2 conclusions that you could make. So if you were, out to sell dog food or cat food, or if you were going to, try to sell something to somebody or advertise apartments that can have pets or something, what would you think about if you were doing that. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is called a dot plot. So a dot plot, it's where we put these dots to represent each piece of data. So if I look at this and it says number of chocolate chips in a cookie, and so it's kind of like I took a survey of chocolate chip cookies and I said, hey, how many chocolate chips do you have? And so the cookies told me this. And so for each dot, that represents a cookie that was surveyed. So write out a list of data as a list of numbers. So if I look, I had the one cookie that had 21, and then I had two cookies that had 22. And then I had a 24, and I need another 24, and then to complete my list, I'm going to have 25, and there are 4 cookies that had 25. And then I'm going to have 3 cookies that had 26, and then 1 cookie that had 27. Whoops. Okay, now find the mean. What's the average number of chocolate chips in a chocolate chip cookie? It says round to the nearest whole number. So go ahead and find the mean. Remember, you're rounding to the nearest whole number. And then the next one is the median. So once you've got this list of numbers, you can easily find the median as well. Okay, you should have found 24 to be your average or your mean number of chocolate chips in the chocolate chip cookies. The median is 25. Now what that means is it means half of the cookies have above 25 and half of them have below 25. And so if we think about how many cookies we have, so if I take off like the bottom 4 and the top 4 and then 2 more and then 2 more, this is my median right there. And so that just means that this half is above 25, this half is below. And you might, well, these aren't really above 25, but they're in the mix. And so that's pretty much how it's looked at. Okay, find the median twice. Never mind. Okay, find the mode. What was the most common number of chocolate chips in the cookie? So if you look up here, the thing that I saw the most happening was 25 chocolate chips in a cookie. So that's going to be my mode. And then my range, you're going to take the highest number of chocolate chips, which was 27, minus the lowest number of chocolate chips, which was 21, and that's going to be 6. How many cookies were sampled? So how many dots did we have in that dot plot? So if you count them, it comes up to 13. The last couple questions, it's just asking questions again like what we saw with the two-way table. So what fraction percent of those sampled had 21 or 22 chips? So out of the 13 that we sampled, how many had 21 or 22? And so you look and there were 3 cookies that had either 21 or 22. And so that was 23.1%. What fraction percent of those sampled had more than 24 chips? So more than 24 does not count 24. So what you should count is you should count that there's 8 out of the 13 that had more than 24 chocolate chips. So that's 61.5%. And then last, what fraction percent of those sampled had less than 25 chocolate chips? So less than 25 is not 25. So if you look, you've got 5 cookies that had less than 25 chocolate chips, and that comes out to be 38.5%.